Then when it comes to like affordable housing, because that's another issue kind of on the same line of being able to like stay in Michigan and afford to stay in Michigan. And I know that, you've talked about creating more affordable housing, but a lot of people want to know about like mixed income housing or what's on the table as far as rent controls, tenant rights. Detroit has a right to counsel ordinance, housing trust funds, and home repair grants. Is that something you want to see on a state level, or what are your big plans for housing?
Sure. So first and foremost, like we need more affordable housing. And so when people say affordable housing, like sometimes we think that means like only housing for people on the lowest income spectrum. But the truth is, again, I've been all over Michigan, all 83 counties where people have a lot of money, people don't have a lot of money. We need housing at every single point on the spectrum. Because look, if you have super wealthy people buying homes that only middle income people can afford, that then means that the middle income people are going to be buying homes that only low income people can afford. And that means that low income people end up sleeping in their car, or they end up couch surfing or sleeping in a hotel. And so like, that's why we need to make sure we can slot into all of these places. But I think the state's role and responsibility is to make sure that we have enough resources and enough tools to develop enough housing. Like one thing, when I came in, I was super frustrated. Like in my career, when I was a community organizer, I learned about these things called housing trust funds. That had in all these states, all these places. Well, as lieutenant governor, I learned that we had one that was established like 60 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But that it was not being used. Like it got used for, they had a cup of coffee with it in 2011 and 2012, got a little bit of money. Now, consequently, that was when we had a Democratic majority to state house. But we weren't using this tool. And it literally exists to fund the creation of affordable housing. And I'm an engineer. Like nothing frustrates an engineer more than the problem is not solved and the tool is not being used. So during COVID, I'm like, we need to deposit money in this fund. So I drove $250 million we invested in that fund. Worked with the Democratic trifecta and now get $50 million invested in that fund annually. So now we have some resources that we can invest in affordable housing. And that's part of what drove those 40,000 units that I was able to bring online thus far. But we got to continue to go a step further. We still 100,000 units short. We got way more to build. We need more programs for people to afford them. But then on top of that, I do want to make sure people can stay in a home that they have. And so making sure that, you can't get, how does it make sense for like, if your landlord is not fixing your apartment, won't fix your smoke detector, won't fix your plumbing, won't, take care of your wiring and stuff like that, and they get to kick you out and raise your rent, that doesn't make sense. So I do think that, we need to be reasonable about that and have some protections for that, at the state level. But, we have more work to do. I'm trying to certainly solve that supply problem, but I also want to solve the fairness problem. And that's what we need to make happen.